Hi Matthew. I'm going to go through your review that you sent me. Most of it looks great. There's a couple of things that I'll just correct for you along the way so that you have a better idea for the exam, but you're in good shape. So starting with the multiple choice questions, everything's good until we get to C. For C, you just need to go to a Z-score chart and look that up, okay? And you should get 0.2296 for that value from the chart, okay? It's as simple as that. For number 4, I think there's a typo on that one. The expected value should be 1.71, and that answer doesn't appear in the document that I was looking at, so I think there's a mistake there. Number 5, that's false. The actual 68% is the area under the curve between 1 standard deviation, like from -1 to +1 standard deviations. That's 68% of the area under the curve. For 2 standard deviations, it should be 95%, okay? And number 6 was right. Number 7, you don't need a graphing calculator for that. You need a Z-score chart. And that's provided in the content as well as the exam. You will have a Z-score chart provided wherever you're asked to use one. So you just need to be familiar with how to look things up on that Z-score chart. For part B, for the communication, the key there to the binomial experiment is that you should have just 2 outcomes. In this case, that's what you really need to explain, is that a binomial experiment has to be set up as a success and failure situation, so we can only have 2 outcomes. Otherwise, we can't define what a success and a failure are. So that's all we were looking for there. Part C is great. Part 2, that's great too. Number question 2. That's actually what you're saying here is actually the best way to do that for sure. That's a great way to approach that problem. For question 3, we hit another typo again. It should say 4 digits, not 5 digits. You've done it correctly if it was 5 digits, so I can see that you definitely understand the concept, and I'm sure you could adjust that for the 4-digit question also. For question 4, you started off great, and then question 4C, a little bit of trouble here. You want to add those probabilities because that's an or statement. So this should be a plus in here, not a minus. And for 4D, what you want to do there is it's asking for exactly 1. And so you have to have the probability of 1 starting, which is the 80%. And then you can add the probability of the second car starting. And in the or statements, if they're not mutually exclusive, if both things could happen, we have to subtract the possibility of both things happening, and that's how you arrive at the answer for that one. For question 5, just getting to the bottom of this page here, everything's great. Yep, you did everything perfectly there. And I'm just going to switch pages over to part C. What am I doing wrong? And let's have a look at part C. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. My apologies. Okay. So for part C, for the first one, if you draw a tree diagram for flipping a coin 3 times, there's 8 outcomes, right? And so what they're asking you for is how many of them show a success as the second flip in the 8 outcomes of 3 flips. And the answer to that is 5 out of 8, not 2 to the 3. And so 5 out of 8 should be your probability there. For 5B, again, I think what they're meaning there in the wording is the first of 3 flips if we have a success. And again, 5 out of 8 of those will show that we have, what is it we're looking for? Tails, heads. I don't have a question in front of me, sorry. And for the last one, you're right, that one's perfect, okay? Now, flipping over to question 2 here, I think what you meant to put here was 0.250 to the exponent 9 and not 2, because we have 10 trials here, and if one of them is successful, then the other 9 need to be failures, and so we need to the exponent 9 here, not to the exponent 2, and that'll fix that question up for you, okay? So that's what I've got so far. Question 3, what's question 3? Hang on, let me see if I can find it here. Question 3, oh, that's the one about the archer, right? And so, all right, so that one, the mean distance, so you're doing z-scores there, okay? If the mean distance is 5 centimeters and the standard deviation is 2, and we want to know about shots landing more than 8 from the center, then for 3A, you just start with 8, and you take away the mean, which is the 5, and you divide it by your standard deviation, which is 2. That gives you a z-score, which then you're going to go to the z-chart, and you're going to look up in all of those numbers there, and that's going to give you the decimal equivalent rather than a percentage as the probability. And you can state the probability, it says for 3A is what percent, so you should take that probability number and multiply it by 100 to make it into a percent for your answer there. What percent of the archer's shots will land on center? I'll just get you started there too. If it's on center, then it is, the mean distance is 5, so we want 0 minus 5 there, I guess. Divided by 2 and find your z-score there also, okay? Now question 6 and 7, or sorry, page 6 and 7, I don't know why they're blank, but they're blank. There's not supposed to be anything there, you don't need to worry about that. And this exam is very, very close to the real exam, so if you can do this and the practice questions on the home page, then I think you'll be set up really nicely for the final exam.